So I can respect this because at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith knows that there's going to be a time where he's going to be going off into the sunset. Hey folks, welcome to the channel. You know what it is. It's your boy Jay, and I got another video for you today. Stephen A. Smith says no to a reunion with Skip Bayless, and he has a lot more that he has to say. So let's get to the video. This is Stephen A. Smith on the rumors of Skip Bayless returning to ESPN. Let's get to it. Fair use, fair use.
Comments from Wednesday's show on Skip Bayless parting ways with FS1 and his show Undisputed. There's been a lot of speculation about a possible return to ESPN for Skip Bayless. For ESPN's part, they've stated the following in a release to Front Office Sports just a couple of days ago. Quote, "We are set with the current First Take rotation and wish Skip the best on his future endeavors." I had no idea ESPN was going to issue that statement. That is my day job. I'm not knocking them for that. I work for them. It's not the other way around. They have the right to do what they want. But they didn't let me know they were going to do that. They didn't ask me either.
Yeah.
So the public has been asking me, what did I feel about that? Which is the only reason why I'm addressing it. Before I address it, I want to play another friend and former colleague of mine, Dan Le Batard, who had this to say on his show.
Doesn't anybody care when? What I'm pointing out to you is Fox got into this business in the laziest way possible. They just said, hey, Bayless, hey, Cowherd, can you come over here and hot take? And they built everything they built. And then in that time, First Take contaminated everything. All of it went to garbage debate television. And in the doing of that, Stephen A. Smith kills the end of the guy's career who gave him the entire opportunity to work at ESPN.
Now, before Stephen A. reacts to that, I'm going to say this. Stephen A. Smith didn't kill Skip Bayless' career. Skip Bayless killed his career, his own career. Skip Bayless is 73 years old. And we know that Skip Bayless is the godfather of hot take TV, sports debate, and all that. We all know that. But this is the thing people need to understand. Skip Bayless is 73 years old. How long do you think a man's going to do something before it's the end? And the thing is that when Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless were on Undisputed together, it was a natural chemistry. You had the old lion and Skip Bayless, and then you had the foil and Shannon Sharpe. The chemistry between the two was awesome. I didn't watch the full show, but I would always watch the YouTube clips and all those things. And once Shannon Sharpe left, that's when you really saw who was really more valuable on that network. So for Dan Le Batard to say that Stephen A. Smith killed Skip Bayless' career, no. The decisions that Skip Bayless made killed his career. Let's continue.
That's not entirely accurate on the part of Dan Le Batard, but I forgive my buddy. To be quite honest with you, over the years, there's only two things. Dan Le Batard and I go back nearly 30 years. Over the years, there's only two things that I've ever taken issue with him with. And one I really didn't know about until recently, when somebody was reminding me of the things that he said about Allen Iverson years and years ago, when Allen Iverson found himself, with some issues to deal with on a personal level, because that's my little brother right there. I got love for him. And when they told me what some of the things that Dan articulated about him at that time, I didn't like that. I never heard it myself, never saw it. But I'm certainly not going to support anybody eviscerating my man AI. The other thing that I've taken issue with, the only other thing I've ever taken issue with Dan Le Batard over the years is how he, comes up with these narratives about Skip Bayless and somehow it involves me in killing his career. First of all, I hope Skip Bayless's career is not over. But the first thing that I would say is that if it is over, is because I think Skip will land someplace. Mm-hmm. Why can't we respect the fact that the brother's 73 years old?
Exactly. I mean, I told people, yo, when a person gets up there in age, you know, even though Skip Bayless stays in shape and, you know, he's still a polarizing figure in the world of sports debate, sometimes, you know, it's just your time. And a lot of times people don't understand. People are not going to do the same job forever. I'm not going to be working where I'm working at 73. It's just not possible. And sometimes it's just your time. And for Dan Le Batard to say that Stephen A. Smith literally killed this man's career, no, I said it before. Skip Bayless is a pioneer. We should be celebrating Skip Bayless, even though I don't really like a lot of the things he talks about, because Skip Bayless is a polarizing figure and a lot of the stuff he says is wrong. But you gotta respect the grind that Skip Bayless has put in over the years, and that's what Stephen A. Smith is talking about. Let's continue.
I mean, why are we talking about him like he's 43 and you got 30 years in this business and you just flunked, and because of that, you know, it's a failure. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of us think that we'll have a national television show at the age of 73? I don't. God has blessed me immensely. I'm number one. I've been number one in the mornings for 12 years. Some have said I'm the number one talent in sports media. I leave that for other people to decide. I don't get caught up in all of that. I pay attention to ratings and revenue. I leave the rest for all of y'all to deal with. But I'm 56.
Yeah.
I can assure you, I don't believe for 1 second I'm going to be in that position when I'm 73 years old.
Yeah.
So why is it that he has to be viewed as failing? That's number one.
Yeah.
Having said that, because we don't run from anything on this show, because this is my show and I don't run from anything, period. Usually when I don't comment about stuff, it's because I don't feel like hitting down. It's not worth my damn time. I'm really bored. I'm not interested in somebody or something. Or my bosses have asked me not to. Except on this show, I don't have a boss. This is mine. So,
yeah, I mean, and I respect Stephen A. because, you know, even though he said some things I didn't agree with on past podcasts, I can respect this because at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith knows that there's going to be a time where he's going to be going off into the sunset. He's at the height of his media career. He says, I'm not going to be here when I'm 73. By that time, I'm going to have made enough money. I'm going to hit the sunset. And he knows that. And we don't know if Skip Bayless is just going to sit back and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm through. But at the end of the day, because Undisputed fell off a cliff after Shannon Sharpe left, doesn't mean that Skip Bayless is a complete failure. Skip Bayless between 2016 and 2022 had the second highest rated show on TV behind First Take. So it wasn't a complete failure for him.
Well, I say all of that to say, and I'm going to tell my producers to quiet down in there. Let me say this to you. Skip Bayless. ESPN did not consult with me. Again, they didn't have to. But in fairness and in the interest of transparency to the viewers out there, the listeners out there, my contemporaries in this business, and everybody else in between, had they asked me, I would have said the same thing that ESPN said.
And I respect that.
Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith together as partners, working across from each other on a debate show, is over.
I respect that.
It's been over. And this is not the first time I've said it. There's no negativity or shade being thrown on Skip Bayless. I have moved on. When I arrived on First Take, it was courtesy of Skip Bayless. And if for those out there who say who wants to say he saved my career, I got no problems with it. Because even though I was back by the time he asked me to come on First Take, I was restricted to radio.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed on television.
And it takes a real big person to say that Skip Bayless saved his career. Because if you think about it, Skip Bayless, was the reason why, if you go back and look at the history of First Take, Skip Bayless was the reason that Stephen A. Smith is on First Take. So you could see why Stephen A. has so much respect for him. And I see why Stephen A. Smith, it's like, why do we got to revisit the wheel? Stephen A. Smith has moved on, and he's at a space in his life where he doesn't need to debate Skip Bayless. You know what I'm saying? Why revisit the wheel? And Stephen A. Smith is the executive producer of First Take. So honestly, I don't want to see Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith debate anymore. That's why they got old YouTube clips of them been debating. If you want to see them debate, go watch old YouTube clips.
And if it wasn't for Skip Bayless giving me the opportunity along with Jamie Horowitz, who knows where I'd be. Fair enough. But that time is a far cry from me being where I am today, where I've been for years, and also serving as the executive producer of First Take. Not to mention having my own platform here that I own and operate 100%. So I'm not throwing any shade or anything on Skip Bayless. I'll always have love for him. He'll always be a brother to me. But I'm not telling you anything that anybody hasn't heard me say before. I'm past all of that. I'm past all of that.
Yeah.
And me connecting and reigniting things with Skip Bayless is not what I want my future to be. That was a past that I'll always celebrate and be appreciative of. But that ain't where I'm at now. I got bigger plans for myself.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, Stephen A. Smith said it, and we got to respect it. You can't. This is the thing people need to understand. It's like growing up. Like, as a kid, you did things, and people want you to revisit the wheel. Like, let's take a player, athlete. Let's say LeBron. Okay, LeBron he started in Cleveland. He went to Miami, went back to Cleveland, got the ring. Now he's in LA. Do you want LeBron to go back to Cleveland? He delivered them a championship. So he doesn't need to go back to Cleveland to finish his career. If he wants to finish his career as a Laker, yeah. Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady was with the Patriots for 20 years. They let him go. He went to Tampa Bay, won another Super Bowl. Would you want Tom Brady to go back to the Patriots? No. People move on. Stephen A. Smith has moved on. And I guarantee you Skip Bayless wouldn't want to be under Stephen A. I'm just being honest. Skip Bayless may want to do his own thing. Try to grow his YouTube channel. Go to other endeavors. And also, why does he have to be on First Take? ESPN has a plethora of platforms Skip Bayless can be on if he wants to go back to ESPN. It doesn't have to be First Take. That's the problem, yo. Everybody thinks Skip Bayless has to go to First Take. No, there's a lot of platforms he can go on if ESPN wants him. And I don't think ESPN wants him because the thing is, when you burn bridges, people don't want that no more. And I respect Stephen A. Smith for saying, you know what, he brought me into the business, but I'm past that. And when you're past that, you don't want to revisit that. It's like, being married. You know what I'm saying? If you been married to this person for a certain amount of time and y'all decide to split up or get a divorce or whatever, you don't want to revisit that. And that's what Stephen A. Smith like, yo, I'm past that. That was my past. And I respect him for doing that. But let me know what you think in the comments about what Stephen A. Smith said about not reuniting with Skip Bayless. It's your boy Jay here with another video. If you like the video, hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button on my road to 100K subscribers. Let's get the conversation started. Until next time, folks, I'm out.